Hey, welcome to Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'm Lee, and in this video I'll be showing you how I painted this tiny miniature using contrast paints. You may have already seen the tiny Warhammer video I did recently, where I took this huge tiny haul of 6mm, 10mm and 15mm miniatures and assembled them and got them painted up. And these are all sent to me by a sponsor of the channel, Excellent Minis. And I'll put a link to their website in the description below where you can find out more about them. But you can also see what I did with a range of their miniatures in that previous video. But here we're going to focus on these three, and these are from their Plague Army collection, and I'll be painting them up using contrast paints. Here I've got the drone, the demon lord and the demon swarm all primed and ready to paint. So I'll just show you how I primed them. And the first thing I did was just get some strips of card and some little pieces of white tack, and I just stuck the models down. I did a load of them at the same time. So here's some of the Seraphon that I also painted up, and you can see that in the previous video. And for some of the really tiny ones, like these little Tau style miniatures, I put a long strip of blue tack and popped them on. And then for the bigger ones, it was just a case of getting a nice ball of the blue or white tack and then popping it on. There's the Demon Lord getting ready to be painted. I thought I'd try out the new White Scar paint by Citadel for this, so I thought I'd give that a go. And so I went outside, put them in the box and painted them all just like this. And so I put most of the models all in one go actually, and got quite a lot. And then I also did a couple of them in strips where I just held it and didn't bother using the box. But I find the box really helps to get a more even coverage. Then once that dried completely, I like to leave them overnight if I can, and then I can get started painting. So this is the result we want, a nice white base for our contrast paints to go over. And so the first paint we're going to use is the Contrast Plague Bearer's Flesh. And I'm just going to give a coat of this all over the demon swarm, and I'm also going to work it over all the flesh areas and the drone. And with the contrast paint, it's really cool not to put too much on, but you certainly want enough that it's going to work its way into all the recesses to give you that shade. And then once it starts to go over the larger, flatter areas, although there's not too many large areas on these mini models, that's going to give you your highlight as you see through it. Excellent Miniatures do a whole range of all different minis, from 6mm, 8mm, 10mm, 15mm, even up to 28mm. So you've got a huge selection there, and you can order them to be delivered and printed for you, or you can actually download the STL files and print your own models at home, and they supply everything you need to do that as well. So all the resins and everything you need, they can supply it, and it's all really great quality stuff. So definitely check out the website, the links in the description. The paint I'm using now is the Contrast Volupus Pink, and this gives you a really nice vibrant colour. And so I'm just picking out all the areas here around the mouth, if you like, of this drone. And then once I get onto the Demon Lord or Demon Swarm, I'll just pick out the little bits of pink on the flesh where it's going all rancid. And this pink is going to work really nicely against the green. So these two colours together I think are a nice combination. I'm letting the detail on the models do all the work for me, and you can see this is how you get them when you order. They put all this like cotton wool in there, so they're well protected, and they're going to come on the little sprues, if you like, from the 3D prints. There's a little bit of cleanup to do, but that's very easy. And so once you get it all out of the box, all you've got to do is take your clippers, snip away any of the excess kind of webbing there, get rid of that. And then what I did is I took a little craft knife and I just trimmed it all up to make sure it's all smooth, because some of those models are going to come on strips like that, whereas others, like the drone here, are going to come individually. And I've used a little bit of blue tack just underneath the drone so I can hold it. And so I'm just continuing with this pink now, picking out all the details. Again, not worrying about going too carefully here, because the models are so refined and so detailed that they really are full of texture that is great for painting with contrast. So I thought it might be quite difficult to paint on this small scale, but it's not at all. I mean, this guy's going to be massive if you've got it. Say you've got the Warhammer version of it, it would be a huge model. And so painting it on this scale is almost like painting a 28mm model. But when you look at the Demon Swarm, the tiny ones, it's amazing to still get all the little faces and the eyes and all the features coming through in the print. And spinning it round now, this back section's really good. You can really see the innards there, so getting loads of pink on that, and that's really bringing it to life. So some really awesome colours. I've always been a fan of the contrast paint since I started in the hobby. I think they're fantastic and perfect for this kind of thing. Again, you can see I'm not being super careful here. I'm just letting the paint and the model make the effect work for me. Onto the demon swarm now, so just got a little smaller brush, little dots is all you need. Just pick out little bits that you think will work just to break up that solid green. But you can even see already how that green's created a bit of depth and the shadows and everything, while it's a bit lighter on the uppermost flatter, smoother surfaces. So I'm just picking out little bits of pink where I think it's needed, having a little look from far away and then just checking it out and seeing if there's any gaps that need filling in just to break up that solid green colour. Next is Contrast Magos Purple, and so this is going to be used for the cloth here that he's got conveniently placed. He's got a bit of self-respect, this guy, so he's covered up, and so we'll give that a nice coat. And this isn't a dark purple, you could go a bit darker, but I think because you've got the almost wishy-washy Plague Bearer flesh and that pale volupus pink, I think if you went really dark and solid with the purple, it might be a bit too much. So I think this works really nicely, a nice pale purple. You're still going to get the shadows coming through, but I think this is going to work nicely. Almost a pastel effect going between these three colours. And while I've got the paint out, I'm back to the drone. I'm just going to pick out some of these little pieces here. And so some of the little tubes and pipes and things. Again, just to break it up, put a little bit inside the rotary blades too. And that'll add a little bit of depth to it and an extra colour, which is really nice. Next, I took some Contrast Agorist Dunes, and this is going to be for the sword. So I wanted this to be like a deep bone colour. So this is going all over it, and you can see already it's gone right into the recesses nicely. I'm hardly having to do any work here. It's almost like painting by numbers, very simple, and just putting it in there a little bit more if you want it a bit darker. And so that works right in, brings all the detail out, and it's really well done. Those skulls are so small. Fire Slayer flesh next, and then I'm just going to bring that onto the base, and there's a bit of texture on the base already, so we don't have to use any different materials or do any gluing or of any kind. So this is all done for us on the printer, so I'm just going to put a nice amount of this on there. And again, I didn't want to go for something too dark on the base because of all the pastel colours. I thought this would be nice to work along with it while giving it again a contrast, so those greens, pinks and purples stand out. And here are our models. We've got our Demon Lord, our drone and our Demon Swarm all painted nice and easy with some contrast paints, and against the black background they really stand out, really vibrant colours. And I think these are going to be really fun to play. Perfect if you want to do an epic scale Warhammer game, or if you want to even try Kill Team on a miniature scale. I'm going to have a go at Warcry with some of the other models. You can even use some of these in Warcry actually, and Age of Sigmar, as well as 40k. Obviously not the drone, but the Demon Swarm could be used, so this could be an option for Warcry as well. While I was painting these up, I also did a load of the miniature Tau style models, and so they look awesome. Really small they are, and I did some Seraphon, and it's the Seraphon that are going to feature in my Warcry battle, where I'm going to try it on a tiny scale, and it almost works out like you use a quarter the size of a normal board for a little mini skirmish. So I think that's going to be really fun, and I covered that in some videos previously. I think it's really quirky to have this tiny scale, and there's definitely lots of ideas. I've thought about putting magnets on these tiny Tau style miniatures and playing a little game with them, or even making a little chess set out of them. I think that would be fun. But I really recommend going to check out Excellent Minis website. Have a look at what they do. There's some fantastic things on there, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised by the huge range they've got, and also the different scales, and how cool would it be to build an army in this small scale. With such detail like this, it would really stand out, and I think it would look great on the tabletop. So there we go, that's how I painted some tiny miniatures with contrast paints, and I hope you enjoyed the video. A little bit different from what I usually do, and look out for that Warcry game coming very soon, where I'll feature some of those tiny miniatures. Got some orcs lined up and the Seraphon who are going to do battle against each other. So yep, hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think about it in the comments section below, and if you liked the video, please hit the like button, subscribe for more videos like this one, and don't forget to hit the notification bell too to join me next time on Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'd like to say a huge thank you to my Patreon supporters who make these daily videos possible, and if you're interested in joining the community, it'd be awesome to see you there, and I'll put a link for that in the description down below.